Yeah, shoot me a text and then I'll go look at it tomorrow. Yeah. So it's a driveway, just needs some work on it.
Yeah, it's, see, they
okay, so you got the gravel there, you just need it cleaned up, regraded kind of thing?
Well, probably some more gravel.
Okay, that is fine.
While you look at it.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no problem, man. Shoot me a text and then I'll text you back or I'll call you tomorrow once I look at it.
All right, thanks.
Okay, buddy. Yeah, take care. right, well, that's looking better. It was definitely pretty rutted up. It's been a while since I regraded the driveway, so figured I'd do it today. It was definitely needed, especially after this winter that we've had. So what we did was we basically raked out the gravel over here. This is where I plow and bank my snow. I raked all this out. It really wasn't too bad. There was actually a lot less rock than I thought there was. Now, I would have used my bucket and pulled it out with the bucket and just back dragged it out, but because this ground is so wet, I really didn't want to do that because I just knew that if I did, I'd be dragging all kinds of dirt back with me. So I ended up hand raking this, which is fine. Raked it until I had a nice little pile here, and then I used that to grade it out. Same thing with over here. I actually had quite a bit right here, so I put it in the bucket, shoveled it into the bucket, dumped it, and spread it out. As you can see, it's looking much better now. Really nice even slope, so that worked out good. Up in front of my truck, you can see how much better this looks. This is like the little pathway going to the gate on my fence. This is also where I bank my snow, and all the gravel is kind of bunched up here against the fence. So I grabbed a hold of all that gravel and back dragged it, kind of graded this out. There was a couple of high spots that I knocked off, especially over here with the cutting edge. Knocked it off, dumped it, and then back dragged it. So that's looking really nice. So I'm glad that's done. And then coming over here, which is the last part you guys just seen me do. This was actually getting washed out. I live on the bottom of the hill, and this is the top, and all the water runs down towards the house. And because of that, the way the water crosses the driveway, it runs down this left side here, or this right side, and it kind of washes out my gravel and leaves me a big pile down over here. So as you guys saw in the end there, I graded this back out. I knocked off the high spot here, put it back in the low spot, and dragged it out. I did leave a little bit of a taper just to keep the water over to that side, but eventually I'm gonna have to put some drainage in where the water crosses over the front of the driveway here, right at the mouth. I want to do like a little French drain or some kind of drainage pipe that comes across here, and that way it'll drain down into my yard instead of coming down my driveway, because it kind of takes the path of least resistance. And since my driveway is very hard packed underneath the gravel, it just flows right down the driveway like it's pavement, and then it just runs right towards my house. So we all know that's not good, but thankfully my basement never floods. But here's a different shot of that. You can see it was all this side here that was low, and this is the high spot that I knocked down to use the material on the left side here. So that worked out really good. Over here at the mouth of the driveway, I had a couple potholes that I took care of. There was one big pothole right here that I kept hitting with my truck every time I pulled in, and that drove me nuts. So as you guys seen, I dug it out with the bucket. You want to dig out these potholes, because if you don't, if you just spread and fill over top of them, they're always going to come back. So you always want to dig below the pothole at least a couple inches. That way you break up that bond and put a nice new pack layer on top of it. That way you don't have any further problems, and this shouldn't create a pothole again. Also fixed the neighbor's driveway over here. She had a nice big pothole, so I figured while I was out here, I'd go ahead and dig hers out and clean it up, grade it out. So that turned out nice. I kind of had to spread it out towards the end over this way, because her driveway actually comes up from mine. I don't know how well you guys can see it on camera, but her driveway actually slopes up like this. So because I graded it over here, I want to make sure I sloped it down nice so that it kind of matched that grade. And then lastly over here, you guys see me back drag this stone up front by the yard. It's much drier, so I was able to actually back drag it without dragging all kinds of mud in with the gravel. So I was able to back drag this just fine. I dragged it out over to the pothole that I dug out just to give it a little bit more material here, and then I kind of spread it out from there, as you guys seen. So yeah, it turned out really nice. It looks much better. Now if I was doing this driveway fully, you know, I would obviously do things a little different. This is just kind of a quick job, but it's definitely going to work. Now, if I was doing this whole driveway, you know, I used to have a back blade. It was a 6-foot back blade. I ended up selling it because I know a lot of guys are going to ask, why didn't you use a back blade? Well, I had a 6-foot back blade, and it was just too long for the Kubota BX. It was just too much blade for it. It did pull it just fine, but if you had it angled quite a bit, it would grab so hard it would kind of walk the tractor around. So I sold it because I had planned on buying a 5-foot back blade so that I could do driveway work with that, and I just never bought one. So I do plan to buy one this year. I'll probably buy a Country Line, or if I find one used on Craigslist, I'll probably buy it. But you know, 5-foot implements seem to be, you know, really hard to find, or anything subcompact tractor related or compact tractor related. Seems like the stuff sells like hotcakes, and with everything in demand right now and supplies being down, you know how the cost has gone up. So I'll have to just keep an eye out, and hopefully I could find one. But if I did have a back blade and I was doing this driveway all over again, I would angle it all to one side, and I would just keep dragging it until I had a nice big pile going to the right, and then I would turn the back blade again going to the left, and I would drag it back this way, and I'd keep moving that pile back and forth, and then at the end I would leave it in the center, and I would grade it out from there. One of these days I'll get a back blade, and I'll show you guys exactly how to grade the driveway properly with a back blade. But like I said, for being a quick job, it's turned out really good. Definitely happy. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little video. This is the day after work. I just figured it was a nice day. I want to get out of my tractor. I really miss using the loader and the bucket. It really didn't take me long at all. Once you get some operating skills of the bucket and the loader, you know, filling holes like this and grading out driveways, it really doesn't take long. Not as long as people think, because people always ask me, like, why aren't you using a back blade? Why aren't you using a grader box? And for small stuff like this and for smaller driveways, honestly, like, in all seriousness, I'm faster using the bucket and the loader. I mean, you guys seen how fast I was moving. I move really fast with that thing, and it's no problem at all for me to grade with that thing. Now, if I was trying to grade out a ton of stone or it was a really long driveway, absolutely you'd want to use a grader box or a back blade. It would definitely be quicker. But as far as doing small stuff like this, the bucket and the loader work just fine. Seems like everybody thinks that you just have to have something on the back to do driveways and gravel with, but you could do a lot more with the front end loader than a lot of people think, that's for sure. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was informative and give you guys some ideas of how you can clean your driveway up after the winter. I should be back out here this weekend if the weather stays nice. Hopefully we can get them sleds finally moved. If you guys didn't see that video, I will leave a link right here. So if you guys want to see the end of that video, I'll make a part 2. So stay tuned. Hope you enjoyed. As always, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one.